This conference will now be recorded.
Hi all, good morning, good evening. Welcome to the exclusive training of Isha Training Solutions, JMeter Beginner to Master with Groovy, Dynatrace, Kubernetes, Docker, InfluxDB, Grafana, Jenkins and BlazeMeter. Today we are going to have the demo session of the training and my name is Chandra. I'll be your training for this entire training sessions. I have around 14 plus years of experience into performance engineering. Have worked on different tools like JMeter, Load Runner, New Load, and application performance testing tools like application performance monitoring tools like Dynatrace, AppDynamics, Datadog, Yager, Kiali, etc. So I have delivered multiple batches of trainings on on these tools and as well as the corporate trainings. So and here we are with a new fresh batch of training for JMeter. So we'll now go through the course curriculum which will give an insight to you that which all topics are going to be covered as part of this training. So before that, I'll just explain you some ground rules about these, so how we are going to proceed with these sessions. So please note that each and every session is going to be recorded. The recorded videos will be shared with you and you will be having the lifetime access to the recorded videos. Whatever documents are going to be presented during the session, they will also be shared with you all. When the session is in progress, I'll request you all to be on mute. However, whenever you have any small query, please unmute yourself and ask it. Okay? Every query is welcome, guys. So do not hesitate to ask your query because these sessions are designed for you guys. So you need to make the best out of it. Whenever I'll be covering any topic, I'll be discussing the different kind of scenarios which could be applicable to that, as well as the interview questions. Okay, so related to that topic, whatever interview questions will be possible, we are going to cover that. Any queries anyone till now? You can unmute yourself and ask your query if any. Okay, so I think we are good. Now we'll go to the course curriculum, the topics which we are going to cover as part of this training. So let me start sharing my screen. I hope my screen should be visible to all of you. Can anyone please confirm by unmuting yourself?
Yes, it is visual.
Thank you so much. And please note, whenever my screen is shared, I cannot see like whether anyone has raised the hand or if there is any message in the chat. So I'll request you to unmute yourself and ask your query if there is any. Okay, thank you. So the training is JMeter Beginner to Master with Groovy, Dynatrace, Kubernetes, Docker, InfluxDB, Grafana, Jenkins, and BlazeMeter. This is the link which is shared with you all in the WhatsApp group. So you can visit this link to get more details about the training. Over here you can get the overview of the training and then the course curriculum. Okay, the course curriculum is present over here. So now we'll go through the course curriculum, the topics which we are going to cover as part of this training. The same topics, I'm going to demonstrate over here. So some of you might be having experience on performance testing but may not have worked on JMeter tool. Some of you would be completely new to performance testing, would be
Hello.
wanting to learn. Yeah, please tell me.
Your screen is very small. We hardly can see the presentation. Can you make it a little bigger?
I can do that, but I think that should be clear, I believe. Are others also facing the issue?
Looks
No,
like
it is clear.
Okay, is it better to you now? I have zoomed it a bit.
yeah, it looks this is the maximized you can go, right?
Now I can go further.
Um, okay. Yeah, it looks okay now. I mean, still your screen is very small. It looks like you're using a very
Yeah, I
small
think
laptop.
no, no, no. My laptop is fine because others are also able to see it. Perhaps we'll discuss about it after the call, maybe. Okay. I think
Okay.
that is the application means which you have opened, right, for to join the meeting. The issue is with that
Hmm.
basically.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it looks like that.
Yeah,
All right, go ahead.
yeah. Thank you. So, as I was telling, some of you would have already worked on performance testing, but may not have worked on JMeter tool. Some of you would have not worked on performance testing at all and would be completely new to performance testing and are eager to dive into the area of performance testing and to learn JMeter. So before I start the tool, I'll describe about performance testing and the what are the different phases in performance testing, so that there is a logical you know context and you understand that the background, and then we go into the tools. We are going to first of all cover about performance testing and then the JMeter introduction. So as part of performance testing introduction, I'll explain you what is performance testing, why performance testing is required, and what are the different types of performance tests which we are going to do normally in different projects. Now in IT, right? In IT, we have a software development life cycle and we have a software testing life cycle. Similarly, for performance testing also, we have a performance testing life cycle. We are going to discuss what are the different phases in the performance testing life cycle, what are the different activities which we carry out in each and every phase. So I'll be explaining that what all are the different activities which we are going to cover in each and every phase, what will be the entry criteria, what will be the exit criteria for each and every phase, and what are the common challenges which you will fail which you will face in the real life when you are delivering the projects. Okay, so in each of the phase, whatever will be the challenges which will come in front of you when you are delivering performance testing projects. Okay, so that will be the introduction to performance testing, and then we will come to JMeter. So we'll discuss about the history of JMeter, what are the different protocols supported by JMeter, what are the different features of JMeter. Then we are going to install JMeter, but before we install, we are going to discuss about the prerequisites for JMeter installation, and then like JMeter is based on Java programming, so Java installation is a prerequisite for JMeter installation. So we are going to discuss about Java installation and then the environment variable setup. Then we are going to download JMeter, how to download and all we'll discuss, and then we are going to look into the installation of JMeter. And once we install JMeter, how to launch JMeter on the Windows operating system, we are going to see that. Then to understand performance testing, to do better in performance testing, we need to have knowledge about some of the uh, key things like cookie, cache, user action, okay, user session, embedded resources, HTTP requests. So we are going to learn about those, as well as I'll show you the browser developer tool, which is really helpful, guys, to understand about each and every request. Okay, so whenever we are, navigating through the application, what is happening in the background, that information we will be able to get from the browser developer tool. So we are also going to discuss about the browser developer tool. These things will help you to understand or develop your scripts in a better way to analyze the issues which you face during your performance tests. And then we are going to understand about the details of the HTTP HTTPS protocol, where we'll learn about request, we'll learn about response, we'll learn about headers, what are the different types of request methods which can go into a server, and what are the different status codes, the response status codes, guys. So what are the different types of response codes? If I say about response codes, you all would have seen, like whenever you are not able to access any web page, the error which you normally get is like 503, right? Or 500 internal server error, or server temporarily unavailable. So those are your status codes. So those are not the only two status codes available. So we'll go and see what are the different status codes. Okay. Any queries, anyone, on performance testing and JMeter introduction? Any queries, anyone, on performance testing and JMeter introduction?
Um, uh, Good morning, Sundar sir. So
Yes, tell me.
without JMeter, how we used to do performance testing? Means JMeter is a tool to do performance testing. It's another tool, or we always have to use JMeter for performance
No.
testing.
So yes, JMeter is a performance testing tool. Okay. Now in performance testing, basically the objective is to do the test with, you know, a higher user load, concurrent users, multiple users. Now when you do functional testing, normally we have a functional tester, they do the testing, right? Now if we have to do test with like 5,000 users, 10,000 users, are you going to hire 5,000 people? Are you going to hire 10,000 people? No, right? You cannot do that. And the infrastructure you cannot set up for that. And managing human resources is a very difficult task that is not possible, okay, practically. So in order to do those tests, we have the performance testing tools, and JMeter is one of them. There are other performance testing tools like load runner, neoload, gatling, okay, and there are other tools as well. So however, JMeter is one of the performance testing tool, and it is, very much in demand because it is an open source tool. You do not have to pay money, okay, or you do not have to pay the license cost in order to use it. Understood? That is why it is very famous, and it is used by most of the customers nowadays. Okay, so did I answer your question?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Any other
Yeah.
queries, anyone?
Yes. Are we going to cover the NFRs of performance testing in this
Yes,
training?
I'll give you the understanding of NFRs. What are the different kind of NFRs? NFRs are nothing but requirements, non-functional requirements. Okay, so we'll cover that in the different phases of performance testing. I'll tell you what are NFRs and what kind means how are you going to validate the NFRs. Once you get the NFRs, what is your next task? Okay, so those things we'll check.
Okay.
Any other queries, anyone, on performance testing and JMeter introduction? Okay. So now that we have understood about the basic concepts, then we will dive into JMeter scripting or test script development with JMeter. Guys, we do development. But yes, do not get scared by hearing the term development. Okay. It will be a cakewalk. Okay. You will learn it. It will be very easy, and it is worth actually. Okay. Because when we do functional testing, I know like so many colleagues, they do functional testing, and till today they are also doing that, and they are not enjoying it. But in performance testing, you will enjoy the work which you will do. Okay, every time you get to work on a new application, for example, you develop the scripts for them, you face new challenges, you solve those challenges. So that will be an exciting journey, guys. Okay. So we are going to see about JMeter scripting. So in order to do the scripting, we need to understand about the tool. So we are first of all going to learn about the 12 major elements or components of JMeter tool. Okay, what is the significance, how to use those components inside JMeter, we are going to learn that. Then we have one test script recorder element. So the process is basically, guys, we will first record the user flow or business flow or the user scenario, and then we are going to enhance our scripts. Okay, so in order to record those, like in the process of test script development, we have to first record the scenario, and then we have to enhance that scenario, we have to customize that scenario, we have to make our script robust. In order to do the recording, we will use the test script recorder element. So we'll learn about its attributes, its significance, what are the best practices, okay, for the test script recorder. Then we are going to learn about the proxy server and JMeter setup to record the test scripts. Now, why this is required, how to do this. Okay, I'll explain this in the session. And this is a very, very important concept, guys. You will get interview questions on this, and people are not still clear, how means whoever is doing performance testing also, why do we need proxy server setup and all. But I'll clarify it, I'll make you understand in a very simple way. You will clearly understand that. Then I'll show you how you can do the recording. As I told you, we have to do the recording first, right? So how to do the recording from different browsers. So that will be demonstrated, and how we can filter out unnecessary requests, the embedded resources. So those all things I'll explain you. Next, how to install the JMeter certificate, okay, on different browsers, how to generate the certificate. So those are things we will see. Then we will discuss about the best practices which needs to be followed for the test script recording with JMeter. Then we'll go through the different files and folders, okay, of the JMeter directory. We have the properties file. So the properties file we are going to discuss about. Okay, so we have different properties file like JMeter properties, user properties, report generator properties. So we'll discuss about the significance of those properties files. Then we are going to learn about the JMeter plugin manager. So we have plugins in JMeter also. So we have the core JMeter, right? Along with the core JMeter, if we want to get additional, functionalities, additional features, we can make use of plugins. So how you will be able to make use of those plugins, how to manage those plugins, how to install those plugins, how to uninstall those plugins, we'll go to this topic and see that. Then in an application, whatever is provided to you, there will be so many scenarios, there will be so many functionalities, right? So how do you identify which all scenarios will be in scope of performance testing? Definitely an interview question, guys. How will you identify what will be the different scenarios which will be in scope of performance testing? Once you have identified the scenarios, it is a good practice to document the transaction flow. So we'll see how to do the transaction flow documentation, and then we'll see the end-to-end scenario recording. Okay, we'll see the end-to-end scenario recording, and then how to generate your test scripts once the recording is completed, and then how to enhance those scripts in JMeter. Okay, then we are going to see the best practices which we should follow during the test script development process. May it be recording, may it be customization of the scripts, may it be the enhancement of the script. Then comes two very important topics, guys. Very, very important. Okay, whenever uh, any performance testing guy like with 2 to 3 experience goes for interviews, you will definitely have questions on these two topics. that is correlation and parameterization. I'll clearly make you understand what is correlation concept, why correlation is required, what is the need of correlation, right? And how to do correlation. Similarly, what is the concept of parameterization, why parameterization is required, how to do the parameterization, those we are going to see. Then for correlation, we need to use one of the element known as regular expression extractor. Okay, so we'll discuss about regular expression extractor and its attributes and details. We'll see how to design the regular expression in JMeter. And then we are going to see some more real-time use cases where we need to use the regular expression extractor to extract the dynamic values. I'll just give you a small overview here, guys. Correlation is a concept, okay, using which we will be handling the dynamic values generated from the server. Okay, it is a concept using which we will be handling the dynamic values which are generated in the server. So how and why that is required, I'll explain it. Then we are going to see about the CSV dataset config element. So that is basically used for parameterization, and using that we can set up the test data. Now guys, one question to you all. Whenever any functional testing is happening and one tester is testing the application, normally there is a login scenario. How many credentials will they use? How many credentials will be used? Did I
Can you repeat the question
make
again?
Yes, there is a functional tester, okay, whoever is doing manual testing, functional testing, and he or she is testing the login scenario. How many user credentials will be required for functional testing?
How many user credentials will be required?
Yes.
User credentials, that would depend on the number of users that are being tested.
Now
I mean, we can
from
have
a
one user.
Only one user credentials required for testing
Yeah.
the login.
One to two questions.
We we have to
Yes,
test
so
it with positive data as well as the negative data.
yes, positive data, negative data, but hardly 3 to 4 set of test data will be fine, right?
Yes, yes.
Hard means in most extreme cases. But just imagine we have to do the performance test with 1000 unique users, for example. Okay, we have to do a performance test with 1000 unique users. So how many login credentials will I need?
1,000 loop balance.
1000, right? We will need 1000 login credentials. Now that is not easy to create 1000 login credentials. Now in an application, it is not only about login credentials, there will be other functionalities where test data will be required. And then if we are doing the test with 1000 users, not only login credentials, other test data also you will need in huge amount. Are you all getting my point? Am I clear, guys?
Yes.
So we have to create that test data. Remember guys, in performance testing, test data is very important. Test data is very critical. We will need to create a lot of test data. So we are going to see how to set up the test data as well in performance testing. And then there is another element, that is the random CSV dataset config, that also we are going to see. Then you all would be aware about authorization tokens. Now this you will understand when you see any application in the background, or I'll show you like what is the significance of this authorization token. Okay, so basically for authentication purpose, guys, any user who is basically authorized to access any resource, Okay, they only can access that particular resource. So that can be handled using authorization tokens. Now, authorization token would be implemented in an application, but how do we implement that in JMeter? How do we handle that scenario in JMeter? Okay, so we are going to see the authorization token as well as their handling inside JMeter. Next is, we by now you would have learned about the test script development for web application. Then we are going to see the test script development for web services or APIs, guys. Okay, this is also very much required nowadays. You would be getting requirements like performance testing of APIs or API performance testing, right? So we are going to see about the test script development of web services. Next, we are going to learn about the scope of JMeter elements and variables, then local variables, global variables, that is one concept which we are going to see, and then the relative path and absolute path setup in JMeter. Any queries, anyone till now? All these topics, guys, you will be able to find on this link which has already been shared with you all in the WhatsApp group. So if you go to the course curriculum, the same list of topics are listed over here. Okay, JMeter scripting, right? The ones which we just discussed. Okay, so any queries, anyone on JMeter scripting topics?
Yes, Chandra. So
Yeah, tell me.
basically, as you have mentioned over here, random variable. Sometime using random variables CSV as well, we find out some duplicate transaction IDs. So are we going to study some user functionals inbuilt on JMeter, like timestamp?
Yeah, so functions will go there. Functions also is there in our topic. We'll go there. So this is like basically, the course for beginner to master.
Mhm.
Some people would be new also, right? So we are going to start with the basics, then we are going to handle the advanced topics. Okay. But
Okay,
yes,
okay.
we will be covering JMeter functions also. So I'll tell you about that. Okay, in this topic. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Any other queries, anyone? Guys, ask as many questions as possible. Okay, as many questions as you have.
Yes, actually, this part is basically based on the recording, most of the part. So recording is very important in actually into that.
Yes, recording is important. No, the correlation parameterization is not recording. Once you see end-to-end scenario recording is done, then your test script will be generated, right? Then we have to enhance our test script. See, if recording would be the only criteria for development of test scripts, then everyone would be a performance tester, right? You simply
Right.
record your JMeter and your script is ready. But that is not the
Hmm.
case. Once you complete the recording, you have to make your script robust because the script will run with multiple concurrent users. So it has to pass every time, right? The script has to pass every time. And for that to happen, we have to enhance the script. We have to correlate the dynamic values. We have to parameterize. Okay, so those are things we'll see. We have to apply assertions. Okay, so there are so many things which we are going to cover in these sessions. Okay,
Okay.
any other queries,
And, Chan-
anyone?
and Chandra, are we going to cover Groovy scripting as well, right?
Yes, that is our advanced
In,
topic. We are going to cover Groovy scripting as well. I,
in
I
depth
am
only.
not, sorry.
In depth, we are going to cover the Groovy scripting or just overview.
No, no, we are going to cover in depth actually. I'll show you like the concepts in Groovy, and then also I'll give you some real life examples, where you can use Groovy scripting.
Mhm.
We'll
And on
go
the
to that
top,
topic. Yeah, tell me.
yeah. And on the top, as we have mentioned, there is some API we are going to studies. But current market, we need some Azure import over there. Some Azure portal they hand over to us, and ask for the performance testing. So are we going to cover that Azure import statements and all,
So
or only?
that is basically performance testing on the cloud. Okay.
Yes.
When you speak about Azure, that is basically hosting your applications on the Azure infrastructure.
Yes.
Previously, you were hosting your infrastructure on premise. Now you are hosting your application on the Azure. So our objective is you are not going to do the performance testing of your Azure platform. Are you going to do that? No, because that is provided by the vendor. You are going to performance test or your application. Understand this, guys. We need to be clear of the fundamentals. Whenever you are going to do the performance testing on application, you are not testing the infrastructure. You will gather the metrics of the infrastructure. Like whenever the application is there on premise, you gather the CPU utilization, the memory utilization, the disk utilization. Same thing you will do in Azure also. You are going to gather those metrics, right? But you are not going to do the performance testing of the Azure platform. You are going to do the performance test of your application. Clear?
Yes. Yes. Chandra. Means
Yeah.
as we need some import of APIs over there, so Azure link we need to performance testing. For example, there is some store ID in that Azure portal. So how to access it? Are we going to study that part?
No, that will not be the part of this training. As I told you, once you understand the concept, okay, you will be able to handle that also.
Okay, sure. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay,
Hello.
I
Any, yeah, tell me.
Hello.
Please tell me.
Yeah, hi, good morning.
Good
So
morning.
actually I have one question. Like you said, through JMeter we can join thousands of people, correct? Like login features. So for manual it's not possible. So through the JMeter we can able to log in with these thousands or more than thousands people, है ना? So the actually suppose there is we know the Google Meet link or Zoom Meet link, correct? So everyone can join with that URL only meeting link, huh? But actually I have one application there people can join with their credentials. So I have thousands of credentials, but it's not possible to join with those thousands of thousands credentials with their meeting. So can I able to join through the JMeter those like at least nearby 950 credentials, and can I able to see those peoples on the UI that meeting those people have joined or not?
Okay. So let's say you have to test that kind of scenario as you mentioned, right? So yes, if you have those 1000 credentials, okay,
Mm-hmm.
whoever
Mm-hmm.
is supposed to join the meeting, you can provide those. On the UI, that is a different thing, guys. See, our whenever we put the load on the application. UI is your client. You see the UI on your client, right? On your browser or on your mobile application or on your desktop application. Our objective is to put the load on the server. Now, if through JMeter you have asked 1000, means you have configured 1000 users to join, you will see on your meeting application server that 1000 users have logged in into the application. Understood?
Okay. Okay, so it's not possible to see those thousands people on the UI then?
No, on the whenever you are saying on the UI, means you see when that is possible basically, but the scenario which you are saying is not actually practical.
Okay.
Okay, so that is if you want to test the performance of Zoom application, yes, you can do that, and you have to basically see whether 1000 open connections are there on the server or not. Okay, and then
Mm-hmm.
you will be able to see the load on that particular application, on Zoom application or any other meeting application. Okay, so the objective of JMeter is to put the load on the application.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, I have a one query before we move on. Um,
Yeah.
so with the introduction of modern web applications development, I mean, we're talking about things like microservices, serverless
Yes.
architecture and stuff. Do we still require performance testing on those things? Since I mean, these are cloud native and performance can be really, degraded. I'm not sure if I'm putting it up, but my question is, if you have application running on serverless architecture, microservices, do you still need to do performance tests?
Yes. Very good question. That is what, the USP of the cloud vendors, right? They come and tell you that, you will not have performance issues. You are not, you do not need to maintain your infrastructure. We are going to do everything for you. That is how they sell their product.
Right.
But as quality engineers, as quality gatekeepers, someone has to verify that, right? You
Hmm.
simply cannot go by, the words of the cloud vendor. Tomorrow, if anything goes wrong in production, you are the one, means your business, means if you are the owner of your application, right? You are the one who is going to suffer the loss. Correct. So even if we have microservices, it is necessary to do the performance testing. Nowadays, most of the applications are on microservices architecture. In that case, also performance testing is being done, because performance testing should not be taken lightly. Okay, we have to check the scalability, where the concept of vertical scaling, horizontal scaling comes into picture, right? So we have to do the performance testing in all the scenarios. We just simply cannot go by, we simply cannot go by the words of any cloud vendor. Okay,
Okay.
clear all of you?
Yeah.
Okay, then we'll go to the next topic, that is BlazeMeter. So we are going to see the introduction to BlazeMeter. Now we are learning JMeter, but you will have a question in mind that why do we need BlazeMeter, or why are we going to learn BlazeMeter? There could be some scenarios where you might face challenges to do the recording in JMeter. So in that case, you can take the help of BlazeMeter also. So I'll show you how to do the test script development with BlazeMeter, guys. Okay, how to do the test script development with BlazeMeter, that we are going to see. Then we have Kubernetes, Docker, microservices, and micro frontends. So I'll introduce you to the world of Kubernetes, Docker, microservices, and how will you do the test script development for microservices. Okay, what will be your approach for the test script development for microservices? How are you going to do the performance testing of microservices? That I'm going to explain. Clear all of you? Now that we have developed the
Hey,
script, it's
Chandra,
time. Yeah, tell me.
hello. Yeah, sorry to
Yeah.
interrupt you. Okay, yeah. So could you also please provide a breakup of the duration per each of these say module? Like how
Yeah,
much
so
time?
so the total duration will be around 50 hours. The total
Hmm.
duration of the training will be about 50 hours.
Okay, so in that 50 hours, say if you have to split it across multiple modules per se, JMeter, BlazeMeter,
I
Kubernetes,
don't
could you
think
also?
I don't yeah, yeah, that can be done, but I don't think that is really required. Is that required?
No, just to
Because
understand.
in BlazeMeter, I will be covering one session for BlazeMeter. Kubernetes,
Mhm.
Docker, microservices, I'll be covering two sessions. Okay, because our primary focus is on JMeter, and along with that, I am providing these additional topics because these are also required. Means once you learn JMeter, it is good to have the knowledge on this, because you see we have different types of participants, different type of trainees, right? If we load too much information to everyone, they might not be able to handle that. Okay, so our primary focus will be on JMeter. Once we are acquainted with JMeter, we will be learning these concepts as well, so that you are completely aware of, the different things which whatever is going on in the industry.
Sure, got it. Thanks.
Yeah. Any other queries? So now that we have learned about the test script development, we'll go into the execution. So the first one will be like very important, guys. We'll learn about think time and pacing, and then workload model design, where you get a lot of interview questions. Okay, in the workload model design, you get a lot of interview questions. Okay, then we'll see how to do the test execution in non-GUI mode. So there are different modes in JMeter. So we'll see how to do the test execution in non-GUI mode. Then the Java heap size setting in JMeter, understanding the test summarizer. So what is test summarizer? I'll explain you in the session, the attributes of it, and decreasing or increasing the summarizer time. Then how to stop a running test in the non-GUI mode. Okay, that we are going to see. Then test execution in GUI mode. How to do the test execution in GUI mode, and then the HTML report generation in the. So JMeter has a inbuilt feature, guys. It can generate the reports for you as well. Once you have completed the execution, it can generate the test reports for you as well. So we'll see how to generate the HTML report in GUI mode. Then we have one file called as the JTL file, the JMeter test log. So that is the results file, guys. So what is the importance of the JTL file we are going to see. Then how to understand the JMeter HTML report, how to analyze it, what are the key areas which you need to look into the report, and then how to change the response time values to seconds. Basically, the HTML report which will be generated, it will have the timings in milliseconds. Okay, so how you are going to change that to seconds, that we are going to cover. Then I think there was a question on JMeter functions, right? We are going to cover the JMeter functions. So functions, in JMeter is basically an added advantage. So some requirement which you wanted to achieve through some custom coding. For example, I'll tell you, there is a request which will always take the current timestamp. Okay, whenever that request will be triggered, along with the request, the current timestamp will go in the request. Now, whenever you are doing the recording or you are using the application manually, that is getting captured. But when you will do the replay or you will do the execution, right, that would be difficult, right? Because JMeter is not going to generate the timestamp on its own. Clear, all of you? Now, when you do the recording, it went in the request, right, as per the application's logic. But when during the execution, that will be difficult. So how can you do that? Okay, that is just one example. There are many other JMeter functions using which you can leverage their feature. Then we will see how to do the parameterization using the P function. Okay, using the P function, and why we should use this function, that we are going to see. Then how to pass the arguments from the command line interface. When we are going to do the non-GUI mode execution, how to pass the arguments from the command line interface. Then comes another very important topic, that is distributed load testing, and how to do the distributed load testing or the master slave concept. Though this is also a very important concept, guys. So how to do that using JMeter, that we are going to see. And then comes about test execution and reporting. So here we have understood how to do the test execution and all. Now then we'll see what are the prerequisites, what are the checklist, okay, which you should follow before you do the test execution. Then we'll see about the test reporting. Then we have test execution with bandwidth throttling. This is another concept, guys, which many are not aware. So this will be covered in this session as well. Any queries, anyone? Any queries, anyone?
In reporting, we are going to study any APM tool or reporting
APM
JMeter.
tool we are going. In this case, this is test reporting in JMeter. But
Mhm.
for APM also, we are going to cover Dynatrace. Okay, we have
Okay.
that below. Then comes the JMeter elements, the sub elements, their attributes in detail. So then here what we are going to do, we are going to cover the different elements again, guys. So over here we would have used some of the elements, right? So here we are going to see about each and every element inside JMeter. So test plan, what are the non-test elements, what is a thread group, okay, explanation of different elements of thread group. We will see different types of thread group, controller elements, and then how to use them. The different controller elements we are going to see, sampler elements we are going to see, the different types of sampler elements we are going to see, then the config elements we are going to see, assertion elements we are going to see, okay, timer elements we are going to see, then pacing and think time related to timer. So we are going to see, means we would have already seen the pacing and think time. So here you will be able to understand how to achieve that with the timer element, then the listener element of JMeter, pre-processor, post-processor. If there is no query, can you please go on mute? So pre-processor and post-processor element of JMeter. So we are going to see these different elements. Then comes very advanced topic, guys, that is the Groovy scripting. This is also very important. So I'll introduce to you to Groovy. And there is one element in JMeter known as the JSR 223 element. So using the JSR 223, we'll see how to do the Groovy scripting. So we'll see some of the concepts like comment, print, variables, operators, and JSR 223 variables in Groovy, and then the real life examples in Groovy. Okay. So this will be covering as part of Groovy scripting. Now, why Groovy scripting is required, guys? What could happen is sometimes, very rarely, we might need to write some application custom code. Okay. We need to write some custom code to achieve some functionality with the help of JMeter. So in that case, there are different scripting languages which is supported by JMeter. However, Apache Software Foundation recommends Groovy. So I have included Groovy as part of this training. Then we have the Dynatrace integration, which we are going to see, where we are we're going to learn about introduction to Dynatrace. I'll show you how to set up Dynatrace, and I'll show you about the different modules. See, Dynatrace again is a vast tool, guys. We are not going to cover the entire features of Dynatrace. Whatever topics, whatever features are required from a performance testing point of view, like how to monitor your front end, how to monitor your back end, the database, the services, the infrastructure, those are things we are going to see, which will be helpful for your test reporting purpose. Okay, that is our Dynatrace, and then I'll show you how to integrate JMeter with Dynatrace, because whenever any application is used, there could be so many requests, there could be so many users using the application, right? So it could be difficult for you to figure out which all are the requests belonging to JMeter, right? So we need to integrate JMeter with Dynatrace so that we can figure out which all are the requests specifically coming from JMeter. So we are going to see the JMeter integration with Dynatrace. Then InfluxDB and Grafana integration. So I will introduce you to InfluxDB, I'll introduce you to Grafana, and then we will see how to integrate JMeter with InfluxDB and Grafana. Then comes Jenkins. Okay, so we are going to see the introduction to Jenkins, and then we are going to see the JMeter integration with Jenkins. So over here I'll give you the concept about CI/CD, versioning control, okay, DevOps, and then means basically how to do performance testing in a DevOps project, okay, where we have pipelines and all. So all those things we will be discussing in the Jenkins integration sessions. So this is all about the topics which we are going to cover as part of the exclusive training JMeter Beginner to Master with Groovy, Dynatrace, Kubernetes, Docker, InfluxDB, Grafana, Jenkins, and BlazeMeter. Any queries, anyone?
Chandra, in pre and post processor, are we going to cover pin shell in depth?
We are going to cover Groovy, not Binshell. So in pre-processor, post-processor, we are going to achieve that with the help of Groovy. Okay.
Okay, Chandra, what about the project post this training?
What about the
The project, like if we have to implement, say, a JMeter or the performance testing on any application, say using
in your in
JMeter.
your in your in your in your respective projects you are asking?
No, not my respective project, but as part of the training, once we are
No,
done
as
with
part
the
of
training.
this, yeah, okay. As part of this training, we do not do projects. For projects, we have another exclusive training, that is real-time project with JMeter, where we go through, the test plan documentation, the test strategy documentation, and means whatever activities we carry out in real time in a project, that or activities we do as part of the JMeter real-time project. But as part of this training, we do not have any projects to do, because every topic will be demonstrated. Okay, every topic will be demonstrated, so every gist you will get out of this training. Any queries, anyone?
Yes. This is
Please tell
a
me.
very simple one. Do we have the maximum number of transactions that can be recorded per a test? Like when we are recording the is it iterations they call it? Do we have the number of or the maximum number? Okay, we can't record more than five. We can't test more than five transactions per test, or I mean, it doesn't matter how many transactions you can record, right?
It does not matter. It does not matter actually. So when we say transactions, there is a difference between transactions and scenarios or user flows. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so your user flows is made up of transactions. So your user flow can have many transactions. For an example, I want to book a flight, right? So book a
Mm-hmm.
flight is basically my user scenario or the business flow, right? And to achieve that, I will have to launch my application. I have to log in into my application. I have
Yeah.
to search for a flight. I have to select a flight. Then I have to book a flight. And then maybe I log out from the application. So these all different steps are my transactions. And
Mm-hmm.
overall, they help in completing one user flow, that is book a flight. Understood. So those means there is no limitation on the number of transactions which you need, which you can record with JMeter. And
Okay.
in a single test, you can run multiple user flows also. For example, there is a book flight scenario, there is a cancel flight scenario, there is a account creation scenario, okay, or search flight scenario. So you can run because whenever any application is used in production, only one user flow is not conducted by all the users, right? Different users do different transactions or different user flows in an application. So we have to simulate the production scenario. We have to simulate the real life scenario, right? So
Right.
you can run multiple user scenarios also in a test script. Okay, parallelly, concurrently. That is the objective.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other queries, anyone? Okay.
Yes, so
Yeah, tell me.
course, yeah, yeah. So course will be based on theoretical or practical. Practically, you are covering all the topics.
Every topic will be demonstrated, and the sessions will be completely practical. And yes, just please bear in mind, like initially 3-4 sessions will be theoretical. Understood? Like the performance testing introduction, the different phases, right? And these concepts, like how to, means what is browser developer tool, cookie, cache, and all. But browser developer tool, I'm going to demonstrate you. And then all other topics will be basically practical only. Everything will be practical, everything will be demonstrated. Okay.
Okay, so you actually will take demo APIs, right? For that purpose.
Yes, yes, we'll be having sample applications, sample APIs. Yeah.
Okay.
Any other queries?
Chandra, if suppose in day-to-day activity or in current project, if you face some issues, can you please guide us in this training session?
Yes, whatever queries you have, we'll be basically responding to the queries. I'll be helping you out with your queries. So that will be there. But the entire project support will not be there, guys. Just please bear in mind. If you're facing any challenges, I can help you out. But if you ask me, Chandra, like, please record this script for me and all, that is not possible. Means that will not be good on your part as well as mine, because you are not going to learn anything, right? So
Yes,
I
just
hope
a
you understand.
roadblock. Will suppose me
Yes, yes,
some.
definitely that I always help, guys.
Okay, okay, sure.
Yeah. Any other queries, anyone?
Yes, actually, we can use any other language other than Groovy into
Yes,
Gem.
you are open to use Winshell. You are open to use Java. Okay, any script means there are different scripting languages supported by JMeter. You can use them, but the Apache Software Foundation recommends Groovy, and that is why I have included Groovy as part of this training. But it is up to you. If you want to use any other scripting languages, then you can do that. However, only Groovy will be covered as part of this training.
Okay.
Yeah,
Hello, Chandra.
yeah,
The
yeah.
demo session is on today. When is the actual class starting?
From tomorrow.
On tomorrow. Okay.
Yeah. Any
Because
other queries?
I haven't registered yet. So
No problem. So from tomorrow, the sessions will be regular sessions from day one will be starting. Today we had the demo sessions. Actually, I wanted to cover some topics also. So anyways, we'll start. Any other queries, anyone? Before I move on to the introduction. Okay. So
Chandra, just one last query. So,
you tell me.
on the daily basis, once we are starting with the actual course content, so is there a possibility that we could overshoot 1 hour time and perhaps could get into 1 hour 15 minutes just because I have to accommodate my other tasks? So,
That means you are asking me, instead of 1 hour, if we can take session for 1 hour and 15 minutes.
no, I'm asking if there is a possibility that we could overshoot the run one way of 1 hour and could potentially go beyond 1 hour. If there is a possibility, like today, we've already clocked 8:30, right? So I have other commitments. So if
Okay,
this
okay.
is going to, yeah,
No, no,
right. So,
this is not no, no. Every day we'll be having sessions for 1 hour only. Okay.
mhm,
I actually wanted to start one topic. That is why, because this was, this is our first day. I do not want to close the session by covering the topics only. I wanted to
mhm.
introduce, to one of the topic. That will be short one. But every day we are going to have 1 hour session only. We are not going to overshoot the time. Okay.
Okay, sure.
I understood your question otherwise, but yes, we'll be covering the session for 1 hour only. Okay.
Sure.
And in case you have commitments, let's say by any means we overshoot by 2 minutes, 5 minutes, the recording will always be there available to you. So before the next session, you could go over the recording, the topics, which means the points which you missed in the previous session. But um, mostly will be every time we'll be having the session for 1 hour only. Okay.
Sure.
Okay, so guys, this training is, as I told you, JMeter beginner to master with Groovy, Dynatrace, Kubernetes, Docker, InfluxDB, Grafana, Jenkins, and BlazeMeter. And I'll be your trainer, Chandra. Coming to the introduction, I'll just touch over this introduction and we'll close the session for today. I'm going to give you some pointers. I'm going to give you some pointers. Okay, and or ask you to think what kind of testing could they belong to. Okay, so you see here, day of the exam results publication. On the day when exam results are published, tatkal ticket booking, so whoever is acquainted with the Indian railways system, uh, you all would be aware like what is a tatkal ticket booking, and who is not aware, like basically it is a system to book your emergency tickets. And in India, because we have huge population, so a lot of users are actually using this particular facility. And then the any festive sale of the e-commerce applications, like we have Black Friday sale, right, in the United States. And in India, we have Big Billion Day sale, or the Great Indian Festival sale. So many sales are there from different e-commerce applications. Okay, so this is one scenario, guys. Next, you will have question in your mind that will the infrastructure, whatever I'm designing, that is going to work in production or not. In case tomorrow there is an earthquake in a locality or in a location where my data center is located, how will my operations continue? Clear? That is another scenario, guys. Can my application be hacked? Is there a data security breach in my application? Are there any malwares introduced in my application, or can malwares be introduced into my application? Will my application be compatible with different browsers? Can my application be accessed by differently abled persons? Okay, so I have given you some pointers over here, and I ask you to think, can any single testing cover all these types of scenarios, or we will need different test types for different scenarios? Anyone? Any thoughts?
Different testing.
Different
So what could
testing
be
tools.
the first one, the first box on the left top
Performance.
Performance
corner?
testing. It's going to be
Perfect.
performance testing. Yeah.
Perfect. The second one, left bottom corner.
Security testing.
No,
Disaster
left
recovery.
bottom,
Corner, left bottom
left
corner. Okay.
disaster
So that's a
recovery, I
business
heard.
continuity plan, right?
Sorry?
That's a BCP. That's a BCP, right? Business continuity plan, ensuring we have data
Okay, that
centers
is,
across.
yes, that is one category of that business continuity plan. Okay. Anyways, but I'm glad you have some answers. Right top corner,
Security
We can
testing.
do, yeah,
Security
vulnerability
test.
testing.
security testing, right? Vulnerability testing, penetration testing, all
Penetration, yeah.
are the subtypes of security testing. Perfect. Right bottom corner,
Accessibility
Compatibility test.
testing.
Compatibility testing.
Compatibility test.
Compatibility.
perfect. So you guys are all masters in testing. So I got both the, so in the right bottom corner, actually there are two testing types, guys. One is browser compatibility, the other one is accessibility testing. Okay, whoever is not aware, but I heard that answer as well. So I'm glad that I got the answer to all the testing types. So guys, all these are different categories of testing, but they belong to one type, and that type is non-functional testing. Okay, that type is non-functional testing. So we have different types of non-functional testing, that is performance testing, site reliability testing, or operational acceptance testing, or operational readiness testing, guys. Okay, the one I was telling you about disaster recovery, as you all told, like data center operations to continue in case of an earthquake. So before that you have to do the disaster recovery to find out whether you can recover. Along with that, we have resilience testing, failover testing, backup and restore testing. So many different categories of testing are there. Okay, security testing, as you all told, browser compatibility testing, and accessibility testing. Clear? So all these are the different types of non-functional testing types, but our primary focus will be on performance testing. But I wanted to give you this introduction so that there are different areas of non-functional testing. If you are interested to dive into different areas, you can do that. Or if you want to learn all type of non-functional testing and become an expert, it is also a very good career path to take, guys. Okay, so with this we'll stop this session for today and we'll resume in the next one. Thank you all for joining. Any queries, anyone? Any queries, anyone?
Yes, after completing the course, how much experience we can show?
If you are new to performance testing, after the completion of the course you can show as like 2 to 3 years of experience.
Okay.
Um, and so I don't have a background of IT, and I'm not familiar with the performance testing terms. So any suggestions that these all
Yeah.
terms were new for me today. So
Yes.
I should like
Yeah,
some
I
kind of
think
links or
there
something
is
like
in the WhatsApp group there was a link shared, where our my another colleague and our CEO, basically he has
yeah, Kumar sir.
also Kumar sir's videos are there. Performance testing introduction. Maybe I will suggest you to please go through them as well, so that you can get acquainted, with these terms as well.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, yeah. I see a
Hello.
hand raised. Yeah, tell me.
So is there any another slot for the for course, or morning slot is only available?
Actually, there is another evening batch going on, but that is already started. So maybe you can ping your query on the WhatsApp group. Okay.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I raised my hand. So I am in the
Yes.
US, and uh, the time that we started today is most convenient for me to join. Do
Yeah.
we have a session that is coming around this time, or is just for the demo slot?
No, no. No. The sessions will be held at this time only. For this batch,
Okay.
the sessions will
Mhm.
be held at this time only.
Okay. Okay. All right. That's good. And
And
then
Yeah.
one other thing, um, can I get like on the job assistance? Like, no, no, not on the job assistance. Like, I'm currently working on a project, or I'm working with um, a team of developers. We are building a prototype application for our client. And one of the requirements for me is to do performance testing. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I shouldn't be asking this, but I'm thinking by the time I finish the course, I should be able to handle real life or real time
Yes.
projects, right?
You should be. You should be. Actually, you should be.
Mm. So I mean, this is coming at a very crucial time, a very good time for me to learn because
Yeah.
I'm new to performance testing. I've been reading a couple of materials on YouTube, but YouTube is a world of its own. Knowledge
Yeah.
are
Yeah.
not as scaled.
Yes.
So yeah, it's you can get a knowledge that's starting from Z to A of the middle of the alphabet. So it's very confusing. So
Yes.
I'm
Yes.
hoping
Yes.
I'll get
But I,
everything
lo-
all
I
together.
I'm sure you will love this training. Okay. You will also be glad at the end of the training, I believe so.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see. Yeah.
Any, yeah. Any other queries, anyone? Okay.
and
So
the classes will be till Friday, and then it will resume by Monday or next Saturday, Sundays too.
no, we'll be having these sessions from Monday to Friday only,
Okay,
7:30 a.m. to 8:30 a.m. IST. Saturday and Sunday will not be having the classes.
okay, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you all for joining. Have a good day.
Ruby
Thank you.
sir,
Thank you.
bye bye.